Before we start the video, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Your support really motivates us. Now, let's get started.
Today we're diving into one of Canada's darkest chapters, the story of Robert Pickton. We're going to break down his horrific crimes, the investigation that for years just couldn't seem to catch him, and the deep, lasting scars his actions left on an entire country. Let's get right into it. 49. Let's just start with that number because it hangs over everything. In police recordings, Robert Pickton confessed to killing 49 women. Now, not all of those were proven in court, but that number, it gives you a sense of the staggering, unbelievable scale of the horror we're talking about. That staggering number leads us to the one question that just keeps coming up. How? How did a man get away with this for so long, right there in front of everyone? That is exactly what we're here to unpack. To really understand this, we have to go to where it all started. Our story begins in Vancouver's downtown east side, where a really disturbing pattern started to take shape, long before anyone knew the monster behind it even had a name. So, picture this. For over a decade, a kind of shadow fell over this neighborhood. Women just vanished, one after another. Families would file reports, of course, but for years, the authorities just didn't connect the dots. Each disappearance was seen as its own separate tragedy, just another person falling through the cracks. No one was seeing the bigger, horrifying picture. And to understand why this went on for so long, you have to understand who he was targeting. Pickton preyed on women from the downtown east side. Many were struggling with addiction or were involved in sex work. These were women living on the very margins of society, the kind of people who are so often ignored and invisible. He used that vulnerability, luring them away with promises of money, drugs, or even just a bit of kindness, before taking them to his farm. So, let's shift our focus now from the victims to the man himself. You see, he wasn't some shadowy figure you'd imagine from a movie. He was a local guy, a pig farmer. People in the community knew him. His name was Robert Willie Pickton. He was born and raised right there in Port Coquitlam, just outside of Vancouver. He grew up on his family's pig farm and eventually took it over. It was this big, messy property that had been in his family forever. To anyone looking from the outside, he was just a quiet, kind of strange, but basically harmless farmer. And this is what's so chilling, right? This massive gap between what people thought they saw and what was actually happening. To most, he was the quiet neighbor on a rundown old farm. But when you look back, people started to remember weird things. Cars coming and going at all hours of the night, and these strange, awful smells that nobody could quite place. That simple farm was hiding an absolute house of horrors. For years and years, the disappearances were a complete mystery. Then, in 2002, the case finally cracked wide open. And it wasn't because of some brilliant detective work on the missing women's cases. It was a complete stroke of luck that blew the whole thing apart. So, get this. Police showed up at the Pickton farm with a warrant for illegal firearms. It had nothing to do with the missing women. But while they were there, an officer just happened to spot personal items, an asthma inhaler, some papers belonging to one of the missing women. That one little discovery was the domino that set everything off. It triggered one of the biggest forensic investigations in Canadian history, and just like that, Robert Pickton was finally under arrest. And when I say the investigation was extensive, it's hard to even describe the scale of it. I mean, the entire farm was a gigantic, gruesome crime scene. It took teams of forensic specialists months upon months, literally digging through the soil, sifting through everything to uncover the horrifying proof of what he had done there. So with Pickton finally in custody, the story shifts from the farm to the courtroom. But getting justice, well, that turned out to be incredibly complicated. And the trial itself ended up exposing wounds that went way deeper than the actions of just one evil man. Okay, so in 2007, the trial finally gets underway. Pickton was initially charged with killing 26 women. The jury ended up finding him guilty on 6 counts, but of a lesser charge, second-degree murder. For that, he got a life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years, which was the absolute maximum sentence he could get in Canada at the time. But this trial was about so much more than just convicting a killer. It was like holding up a mirror to society and to law enforcement. It exposed a deeply, deeply flawed system that had for years just dismissed the fears of families and completely failed to take the disappearances of these vulnerable women seriously. The legacy of this case is just immense. It forced Canada to have a really uncomfortable, nationwide conversation about how it treats its most vulnerable people. It directly led to big changes in how police handle missing persons cases. But for the families who fought for years just to be heard, it left scars that will never, ever fade. And as a final grim postscript to this story, Pickton himself died in prison in May of 2024 after being attacked by another inmate. So all of this leaves us with a really tough question, doesn't it? Robert Pickton is gone, sure, but are the underlying problems that allowed him to get away with it for so long, the neglect, the indifference, the way we push people to the margins, are those problems gone too? This case forced some changes for sure, but it's also a powerful, terrifying reminder that the job of protecting everyone in our society is never really over.